Egemen Bağış. She's the Turkish ambassador to Prague, former Minister of EU Affairs and Chief Negotiator. Great to have you on the program with us. What objections does Turkey have to the decisions or lack of decision making at the EU Leaders Summit? Because I know that the Turkish Foreign Ministry did criticize the outcome of this summit.
You know the old saying, if the only vehicle you have at your hand is a hammer, everything seems like a nail to you. That's what the European Union Commission or the Council is trying to do these days. Just because they have some financial abilities, they think they can solve all the problems with financial solutions. But the crisis at hand, the migration issue, is a humanitarian issue, is not a financial issue. And the solution is a political solution, not an accountable or financial solution. We have to look into the deep sources of the problem. Why have people migrated from Syria? Why have they tried to find a safe haven either in Turkey or in Lebanon or in Jordan? Because they are fearing for their lives in the hands of a dictator in Damascus. So the core problem is to bring democracy, is the lack of democracy in Syria. And the solution is to convince all of the international partners and players to persuade the government in Damascus to have free and fair election. Only then people of Syria will feel safe about returning home. So with 3.5 or even 35 billion, you cannot solve a problem. The short-term solution that Turkey has proposed is to establish a safety zone at the border between Turkey and Syria at the Syrian territory, which will be protected by international forces, by EU, NATO, whoever is interested, where we should build homes, farms, businesses, schools, places of worship, and that area should be under UN guarantee, and slowly extend that territory and create a more democratic society where human rights can be enjoyed. Unless we do that, any financial remedy is not going to be enough. Turkey has already spent more than 40 billion US dollars. So another 3.5 or lack of it is not really going to make that big of a change.
Right.
But of course, an issue of principle, and EU has to assume some responsibility.
And to your point, the Turkish Foreign Ministry did say that reducing migration cooperation to a financial dimension is a big mistake. As far as this EU Leaders Summit, what would Turkey have liked to have seen come out of this summit in that regard?
Well, they should have said this is a humanitarian issue and the solution requires a political solution. And they should call on all member countries and all partner countries, including Russia, the United States, other countries that have powers to influence on the regime in Damascus, to bring more human rights and more democracy to the Syrian people, and to evaluate Turkey's proposal to establish a safety zone at the border within Syrian land, where some area of 20 kilometers deep at the border could be dedicated as safe region where we could invest and build, as I said, homes, factories, places of business, farms, schools, places of worship, where people can slowly go back to their home country. Because the solution is not for them to stay in Turkey, and definitely not for them to migrate to Europe. And that's the biggest fear that European leaders are facing today. In every election campaign, they are trying to scare their electorals by the threat of a mass migration of Syrian Muslims. This is not a political game. This is a humanitarian problem which requires a humane solution.
All right, we'll leave it there. Egemen Bağış, thank you so much for your time.